ladies and gentlemen. It is August 17th, 2021, and I wanted to make this recording because I've been planning on doing this message for a while. It's called Terrifying and Frightening Beast, and that comes from the book of Daniel, chapter 7, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But, I just went out. I went to the grocery store. Now, I'm in northern Nevada, and, I don't even like telling people where I am. Things are so crazy these days. I just want to be anonymous. But it's important to know that because I just went outside. Now, I live in northern Nevada, and right next to the Sierra Nevada mountains, this awesome, beautiful mountain range that, on a summer day, they're so beautiful here, and it looks like you could walk right up to them. They're just so big and magnificent. But for the past month or so, you can't even see the mountains. You cannot even see the Sierra Nevada mountains because our valley is covered in smoke from California forest fires. And I mean, we are choking on smoke for a month now. And so I go out to the store, my neighborhood store here. There's just smoke. It's just disgusting. It's like you can't even breathe hardly. Then you go in the store, and it was really crowded today. There was like dozens of people in there, and I was the only person in the whole store that was not wearing a mask. So, I've just had it with all the BS. I can't take it anymore. They're burning down California. They have the COVID hoax, and at this point, it is getting just out of control. It's being used. Well, let me just talk about this terrifying and frightening beast. In the prophetic scriptures, and I'm going to start doing a Bible study. I'm going to do the book of Revelation, but I'm going to use it as like a template because, obviously the scriptures in Revelation itself are very powerful, but they bring together all the prophetic scriptures of the Old Testament as well. There's like over 500 allusions to the Old Testament in the book of Revelation, and I think the Apostle John there was bringing all of the prophetic revelation together. And so basically, and like I said, I'm going to be doing this Bible study, so I'll be going into these details much more later, and I hope that people will tune in, and I'll try and, I just started this broadcast. If you look at my YouTube channel, I have a few videos that I did in 2019, which I think were pretty good, and they show that I've been down with the whole patriot movement, that, Trump, and knowing that everything is BS. I did it back in 2019. I did a video about Epstein, even before he didn't kill himself is when I made this video. It was like July of 2019. It was like shortly after his arrest. And I also did a video about the corruption of James Comey and the FBI. And all these things are really they're all related and coming to a head. Basically, the U.S. government is an out-of-control, becoming totalitarian monster. We see what's happening in Australia. What a nightmare. I mean, and New Zealand, and in both Australia and New Zealand, you've got these ladies come out who I guess are the health ministers or whatever, and they're like, it's human nature to talk to your neighbor, but we are telling you, do not start that conversation. They don't even want you to talk to each other now. Australia and New Zealand are absolutely out of control, and we're getting there. So anyways, The book of Revelation, there's a very important concept, the times of the Gentiles, which really is a very important concept in all of prophecy. And so in Daniel, the book of the prophet Daniel, chapter 2, King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and it was a great statue, and with head of gold, chest and arms of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, feet of iron and clay. Okay, that's Daniel chapter 2. That's the great statue that King Nebuchadnezzar dreamed, and Daniel interpreted the dream. And then, and so the legs of iron and feet of iron and clay, you see in Daniel chapter 40, his interpretation of that, or I'm sorry, Daniel chapter 2, verse 40. Daniel says, "Then there will be a fourth kingdom as strong as iron, inasmuch as iron crushes and shatters all things. So, like iron that breaks in pieces, it will crush and break all these in pieces." So he's saying it's going to be a dominant empire, and the original part of it was the Roman Empire of the time of Christ and the century before that, but that fourth Gentile empire really it goes through stages throughout history, and so in Daniel chapter 7, starting at verse 15, Daniel says, So Nebuchadnezzar had the dream in chapter 2. Daniel interprets his dream. But now in chapter 7, Daniel himself is having a dream. And he says, starting Daniel 7, verse 15, "As for me, Daniel, my spirit was distressed within me, and the visions in my mind kept alarming me. I approached one of those who were standing by," so he's talking about an angel that is part of this vision, "and began asking him the exact meaning of all this. So he told me and made known to me the interpretation of these things. These great beasts, which are 4 in number, are 4 kings who will arise from the earth. But the saints of the highest one will receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, for all ages to come." So there in verse 18, he's saying, yes, God will have the ultimate victory. But in verse 19, he says, "Then I desired to know the exact meaning of the 4th beast, which was different from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, with its teeth of iron and its claws of bronze, and which devoured, crushed, and trampled down the remainder with its feet." And then this angel interprets it to Daniel. He said in verse 23, he says, "Thus he said, the 4th beast will be a 4th kingdom on the earth, which will be different from all the other kingdoms, and will devour the whole earth and tread it down and crush it." That is the stage of one world government. The beast of Daniel chapter 7, and then this beast actually is expanded upon in Revelation chapter 13 and chapter 17. So this beast of the prophetic scriptures is depicted as a rampaging monster, teeth of iron, claws of bronze. It devours, crushes, and tramples down. It will devour the whole earth and tread it down and crush it. That is the world government. And then the 10 horns that arise from this beast are 10 kingdoms of that, the final stages of the world government. But first, this beast becomes a world government. And, well, to me, I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a political class in California, in Nevada, in the United States, in Australia, in New Zealand, in Britain, really, I guess, all over the world. these governments are becoming more tyrannical, and they're all on the same page, it looks like. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen the videos, especially with the Build Back Better concept. Boy, they're all in on that. They're all saying that. And so I believe we are seeing, well, let me try and follow me with this. I decided to come in and just speak. I usually try to write stuff out before I do these, but I was so disgusted and so sick of not being able to even go outside. I can't even open the windows in my house anymore because smoke from the forest fires in California comes in, and you smell it, and it's horrible. And so the government is out of control. It is like a rampaging beast. Now, here's the thing. These prophetic scriptures are clearly what is happening and what will happen. Okay? In my view, the Bible and the prophetic scriptures are absolutely true, and you can see it unfolding before your eyes. And there is a terrifying and frightening beast on the rampage. But here's the thing. This high-tech imprisonment that they're trying to put on us, and this totalitarian one-world government that they're trying to make happen, I believe that, okay, and I'll get into this more as we do the study of Revelation, but I think that all great world empires, beginning with the head of gold in the statue in Daniel chapter 2, the Babylonian Empire of, the 6th century BC or 5th century BC, whichever. 586 BC is when they invaded and conquered Jerusalem, thus becoming the first Gentile empire of the times of the Gentiles. And the times of the Gentiles, the key scripture for that is Luke chapter 21, verse 24, where Jesus, in his Olivet Discourse, his prophetic scripture part, which you find in Matthew chapter 24, Mark chapter 13, Luke chapter 21, and Jesus says, Jerusalem will be trodden down by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. And so these four great kingdoms are seen from God's perspective, from, his throne in Jerusalem. He sees world empires as they relate to Jerusalem and Israel. And so Babylon was the first Gentile empire. And then that, the chest and arms of silver was the Medo-Persian Empire, and that these correspond to the beasts in Daniel chapter 7. And then the belly and thighs of bronze was the Hellenistic or Greek Empire, the Alexander the Great Empire that was divided after he left the scene. And then the legs of iron, the Roman Empire, and then the feet of bronze and clay, and the beast in Daniel chapter 7 are showing the fourth Gentile empire, which began with the Roman Empire of the time of Christ, around the time of Christ. But it goes through stages until the time of the end, where this fourth Gentile empire will rule the whole earth. But anyways, as I was saying, so all these empires would have wanted to rule the whole world as tyrants. I mean, I guess that's human nature. People get power and they want to become tyrannical. Well, and you look at the Roman Empire of the time of Christ, and they conquered a huge part of the world. I mean, that was the largest empire in history to that time. They were tyrannical. They ruled with an iron fist. And if they would have had the technology they would have implemented their New World Order a long time ago, 2,000 years ago. Actually, if you look at Genesis chapter 11, they built a tower. God said there's nothing they won't be able to do at this point. If God wouldn't have stopped them and confused their languages and scattered them over the face of the earth in Genesis chapter 11, we wouldn't even got to Genesis chapter 12 because they would have developed this technology and they would have enslaved all mankind. And you know what? It's starting to look like the whole goal, and I guess this is their stated goal, is to kill 90% or 99% of the population, and only the righteous, noble, pristine ones will rightfully be left to rule the earth, right? That's their view of it. So, but anyways, my point is that some tyrants in the past would have ruled the earth if they would have had the technology. Well, the technology is here now, and we're seeing it, used in many ways to subjugate people. But here's the thing: this whole revolution, this whole wanting to implement this tyrannical one world government, this one new world order. I think it had to be, really, to make it work, it would have had to have been the boiling frog scenario, which we were in. We were the frog boiling in the pot. And but when Trump was elected, when an outsider was injected into the system, which is, I've always believed, the only other person I've ever voted for besides Trump was Ross Perot in 1992, because I've always, hated politicians. I've always known that they were a bunch of lying, corrupt scumbags, and that's been borne out in spades. I mean, everybody should be able to clearly see that now. But here's the thing. I believe that since Trump was injected into the system, it has caused people, things have come about because an outsider came into this system where things have been revealed, things that were long kept secret. And I think that there are so many things that are so freaking horrific that when they come out, we'll be blown away. Some of us, I mean, I'm expecting to see a lot of things, but even still, I expect to be surprised by the depths of depravity that will be uncovered. And so that's why they're fighting. They are fighting for their lives to keep these things covered up. But so, and people talk about the 16-year plan. It was supposed to be Obama for 8 years and then Hillary for the next 8 years. And by that time, we would have been the boiling frog in the pot. And by the end of the 16 years, we would have just been taken over before we even knew it, and it would be just completely over. But since things came about the way they have, a lot of people have awakened. A lot of people have seen behind the curtain. They have seen the plans of these globalists, these evil plans that they have to destroy us. They are actively trying to kill all of us, as many as they can. These people are evil maniacs, and we need to get out of the the normalcy bias mindset that we have and realize that these people are sick, evil, megalomaniacal, just idiots. They think they're worthy to be the gods of this earth, and they're not. They're just punks. And so, but because of the technology revolution, so technology is always a double-edged sword. And this time, I'm hoping it'll work in our favor. So they never would have been able to advance their New World Order as far as they have without technology. But at the same time, I'm sitting here, I've got this great computer. I've got my phone. I can go online until they block that. I mean, that's probably the next step that's coming soon. Uh, but, you know, I have access to a lot of information. I have access to know that these guys are evil, they're liars, and that they're trying to destroy us with their vaccines and their lockdowns and their fires and their stolen elections. I mean, we could go on and on. We know that, and you know what? Another thing with their censorship, I'm sitting here, I just thought of this. I probably said something that's going to be censored, and then they're going to take down this whole video. And I'm sick and tired of this garbage, This is the terrifying and frightening beast on a rampage. If we don't destroy him, then he's going to destroy us. So it's us or them, and we better be prepared to push back. But I'm scared because, like I said, I'm out here in this valley full of smoke with raging forest fires. They're burning down the whole state of California, and everybody's still going around in their masks, even though here's another thing, the border, the southern border is wide open. They're not worried about COVID down there. Apparently there's a bunch of infected illegal aliens with COVID that are being shipped all over the country. So the whole thing is a lie. It's a sham, and it's like a spell. And I was listening to let me get this note here real quick. Last night on the Stu Peters show, Dr. David Clements, and he was talking about, they were talking about the election fraud, which David Clements is part of uncovering in Arizona. But then they're also talking about the vaccine, and they said, it's like this country is under a spell, because how in the world could we be so stupid? How could we have such mass stupidity and blindness and cowardice? There is a spell that's been cast upon us. Well, and this guy, Dr. Clements, he said, there needs to be God needs to factor into this somehow. So he's probably not like a biblical scholar or anything. So, but yeah, our only hope is in God, And that brings up a whole other thing. When I say that, just know, if you ever listen to any more of my recordings, when I talk about God, I'm talking about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I'm talking about Jesus Christ. I'm talking about the God of the Scriptures, the real Scriptures, Genesis through Revelation. Then there's but see, there's a lot of people out there who are patriotic and trying to fight this war with us, but then they talk about New Age spirituality, like, oh, we've got to ascend to a higher plane, a higher vibration, all this New Age nonsense, I'm talking about the Bible. But, these people that are looking to these ideas, on the other hand, you can't blame them, because the church, really, the collapse, just the disappearance. The church is like a non-entity in America and and around the world, And it's time for Christians to stand, in biblical doctrine, because you want to talk about ascending and vibrating and all that BS, that garbage. No, get into the real doctrines of Christianity, of, Ephesians chapter 6 and, the scriptures that talk about we are in Christ. We have all power. We are sealed in the Spirit. We are empowered by the Spirit. We are in the full armor of God. We are citizens of heaven. So we don't need any of this New Age nonsense about vibrating. It's just stupid. It's just, it just comes down to the true God. He's our only hope. And we have to stand in God But I would say to people out there who don't even believe in God, but know there's a, and even these New Agers that I just talked about, we still need to stand together and fight these evil tyrants, you know? Uh, I'll tell you, I mean, we see these videos of, like what I said, they're doing in Australia, in Canada. And, you know, I would say to people in Australia, if you're going to, and Australia always had the reputation of tough guys. Well, you know, if you're going to let your government tell you you can't even talk to your friend at the grocery store, well, then maybe you're not so tough after all, and maybe you deserve what you get, you know? So if you don't stand up and fight for your own selves, for your own rights, your own God given rights, well, then you deserve what you get. Canada, I mean, if you're going to let, and I don't even want to say his name because I don't want to be banned. I don't know. I don't even know how all this censorship garbage works because all I know is I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm exercising my First Amendment rights of free speech, and I'm not attacking anybody. I'm not saying anything. I'm not yelling fire in a crowded theater. I'm yelling fire in a whole state, two states that are covered in smoke. Yes, there is a fire. There's massive fires all over California. But, you know, if you let the Prime Minister of Canada do this to you, then you deserve what you get. If we let Governor Treason of California uh, burn down California, we deserve what we get. Now, they're having a recall election in California soon, and I just hope they get rid of Governor Treason. Governor Newsom. I call him Governor Treason. Uh, but if we don't get rid of him, then we deserve what we get. And you know what? The ultimate thing. If we have this fake president, and you know what? Okay, you want to talk about censorship? Well, here it is. Here's what I call fake President Joe Biden. I call him the demon possessed, pedophile, puppet fake president. That's who he is. And if we let that son of a whore rule over us, then we deserve what we get. So, ladies and gentlemen of America, of Canada, of Australia, Great Britain, but you know what? Something else I just thought of too is, like I said, all these things are connected. The Spygate thing with, you know, the Russian collusion hoax where they tried to take down Trump with this impeachment, saying that he conspired with the Russians for the 2016 election, which is more Democrat Party projection, of course. But, you know, Australia, New Zealand, these Five Eyes countries, Canada, well, I would say definitely Britain and Australia were involved very deeply. They were like primary movers and primary operatives in this operation, this Russia collusion narrative against Trump. So maybe the Australian government, with their just over the top, insane uh, reaction to the COVID situation, might have something to do with that. That their government was busted trying to take down Trump because you know, they could legally spy on him inside the United States. That's how they worked that out. And there's so much to do with all that. I mean, everything I've talked about now is like I'm just barely scratching the surface, and I've already gone for a half hour. And but like I said, I'm gonna do these Bible studies. I'm gonna do the Book of Revelation, but I'm also gonna start making these recordings because I'm sick and damn tired of seeing these stupid fools in power burning down our country and the rest of the world. So if we don't stop this terrifying and frightening beast, this rampaging beast that is attempting to devour the whole earth and tread it down and crush it, if we don't stop them now, there will be no stopping them ever again. Not a chance. We have to stand our ground now. This is like the last stand for human history. You know, it seems to me it's looking like. So we need to overcome this tyranny. And you know what? It all comes down to the American people. We are the last refuge of freedom in this world. And if we go down, there will be no more freedom. This beast, if they take down America completely, you will never stop this beast. It will rampage. It will take over so fast that so we would literally be in the end time prophecies of the Bible. And, I guess we already are. But I do believe that if we stand now against this tyranny, I'm just hoping that we can reverse course, and we can have an American Renaissance. That is what I hope for. I hope to God. But it's going to take all of us to stand together and say no. I'm worried because, like I said, I go out. I go to a place where there's hundreds of people. I went to Costco the other day. Hundreds of people in there. And I was the only guy not wearing a mask. And, like I said, the whole mask thing is a joke with what's going on at the southern border especially. It was a joke even before then. But now with, letting illegal aliens come in the country that apparently are testing positive for COVID, but who knows these tests anymore? You know what? I'll tell you what, folks. The only thing I believe anymore is the Bible. I don't believe a word from the U.S. government. I don't believe a word from the Nevada government. I don't believe a word from any government. I don't believe anything. I only believe in Jesus Christ and the Holy Scriptures. So we must, and even if you don't, at least hopefully you will believe in the Constitution of the United States and the fact that we are free people, and we need to stand for that, or else we won't be free at all anymore. We've already lost a lot of our freedoms. They will take them all. And look how fast they're moving. Look how fast this terrifying and frightening beast is moving. Stand against him, people. Please stand. That's our only hope, is to stand against this tyranny. Thank you, folks. I'll be back. I think I'm going to start making videos, and then also I want to do the Bible study Revelation. So be watching for that. This is kind of a new thing. I did a recording called Future Proves. It's like 1 minute long. It's very powerful. I would encourage you to listen to it. So thank you, folks, and you'll be hearing from me again soon, and I look forward to it. Thank you.